and welcome back to Football Made Simple. Under Gasperini, Atalanta have been one of the most impressive teams, not only in Serie A, but in Europe. With a swashbuckling style of play, they currently sit second in Serie A and have qualified for the last 8 of the Champions League. But what tactics have led to this? In this video, we take a look. A special shout out to everyone who's been able to support Football Made Simple on Patreon so far. If you want to help the channel, I'd love it if you considered supporting on patreon.com/footballmadesimple, and you'll get perks like early access to videos, exclusive content, and so much more. Statistically, Atalanta's attack stands out. They have scored comfortably the most goals in Serie A, outperforming their XG in the process, and in fact, they have the highest expected points tally in the league. Their defense isn't quite as solid, with 5 teams conceding more often than them, although they are underperforming their expected metrics. Formationally, these scintillating performances have been led by Gasperini's preferred 3-4-1-2, although he has also experimented with variations, such as the 3-4-2-1, the 3-4-3, and the 3-5-2. One of the keys is that when everybody is fit, he has a clear preferred 11, which gives the side great chemistry. Let's look at the build-up play first. As a possession-focused side, their instinct is to play out from the back whenever possible, with Galini looking to find the centre-backs. The centre-backs are incredibly important to the build-up of play, and Gasperini and Toloi are both in the top 3 for most average passes completed for the team. It is noticeable that the 2 centre-backs in the top 3 are the wide centre-backs, which is an indication of one of Atalanta's major tactics. The team tend not to play through the centre of the pitch and see the wide regions as the key to their success. In fact, only Verona and Brescia attack through the centre less often than they do. So, as a result, Gasperini and Toloi become the keys to beginning the attacks down the respective flanks. To fully utilise the flanks, Atalanta naturally need wide overloads, and they do this well. The wingbacks move higher up the pitch to become progressive passing options, whilst the 2 central midfielders tend to maintain their position to be the second tips of the diamonds. The front 3 can form a diamond in a couple of different ways. When using a 2-1 in attack, with Papu Gomez wide, the wide forwards just shift slightly wider whilst Zapata stays high as the attacking tip. But more often than not, Gomez plays as the attacking midfielder in a 1-2, with Ilicic and Zapata as the central strikers ahead of him. Now it will be they who move wide, whilst Gomez stays central, but instead of being high like Zapata, he holds his position in the midfield. This shape means that the deepest man always has 3 options in different vertical lanes to pass the ball to. Verticality is a big part of Atalanta's game, looking to get the ball upfield whenever possible very quickly, and as a result, they average the second most progressive passes per game. Atalanta also perform their side overloads differently to most teams. The usual ploy will be to shift the majority of your players into the area around the ball to completely draw the opposition close, with 1 or at the most 2 players on the far side ready for the switch. But Atalanta, with their dual diamond approach, are able to have an overload to draw opponents, whilst their far side numbers mean that the opposition are hesitant to completely cover across in case of the switch, so they have less defensive numbers around the ball. So, if they stay away, Atalanta can then more easily play through. Papu Gomez from here can often be the key, as he wisely chooses when to overload a side when he deems it necessary. And if he is followed, it frees space for the wide forward to drop into. But if unmarked, he can stay central to facilitate the switch or look to be a new point of attack through the centre. But the coordination and tactical preparation of Gasperini's side is particularly evident in the wide rotations. Opponents at times look to match up Atalanta man for man in the wide regions, so they use their movements to orchestrate more space. As the centre-back moves up with the ball, vacating a space deep, the central midfielder can drop to cover the position, and the higher half-space region can be filled in a few different ways. The wide forward can attack the wide region, dragging a man away, and the centre-back can offload the ball and make the run into the resulting space, as his winger is unlikely to follow him that deep. Or, alternatively, Papu Gomez can look to attack the same space. Alternatively, the wingback can push even higher, allowing the inside forward into the half space to receive the ball and start the next phase of play. But another testament to their fluidity is that at times the forwards are happy to drop into the midfield region, hopefully dragging a centre-back deep and creating even more space behind the backline for a teammate to attack. But when moving higher up the pitch, Gomez is once again just as crucial, getting onto the ball in these regions often. He finds this space in zone 14, often because the wide diamond structure means that when the ball does come central, his teammates have created space for him, and therefore he can look to thread the ball into the forwards ahead of him. This is aided by the hyper-vertical play from deep, which can take many opposition out of the game at a time. As a result, he takes the most touches in the final third in Serie A. And without the ball, he helps the fluidity of the front line by helping them to alternate between a front 2 and a 3 to create more room when necessary. In addition, Ilicic in particular is comfortable dropping deep when necessary. But still, Atalanta look to get wide when possible, pushing both of their fullbacks high to spread the opposition's backline. Atalanta then often get men in the half spaces, whilst Gomez can support the ball side, creating space for the far side forward to drop into when necessary. These numbers forward allow many passing options, and as a result, Atalanta average the most passes into the box per 90 and create the most shooting opportunities per 90, with their off-the-cuff fluidity in the final third. But how about without the ball? What do they do defensively? Well, they are a fairly high-pressing team, with the second lowest passes per defensive action in the league. In the early stages, it is more often a man-oriented than ball-oriented press. If the opposition use a back 3, Gomez pushes high to even things up. But if it is a back 2, he stays in his position behind the forwards. Atalanta's natural shape limits the opposition's attacking options down the centre, so they tend to be filtered out to the flanks. The wingbacks in Gersons and Hateboer can be aggressive in their press on their opposition fullback, as the wide centre-backs can move across to cover the opposition wingers in these phases. The forward and Papu Gomez can then help contract the press and use the touchline as an extra defender. But when Atalanta are bypassed here, they drop into a solid defensive shape with the wingbacks deep in order to form a back 5, whilst the double pivots aim to prevent any play into zone 14. And crucially, the wide centre-backs ensure that the half spaces are always clogged up, making the opposition's attacking play more difficult. Gasperini has built a special team that are easy on the eye. They may be underdogs in the Champions League, but they are ones to watch. This analysis was focused on the system as a whole rather than individual players. So let me know, who are your favourite Atalanta players to watch? How do you think they'll do in the Champions League? Let me know down below. A special thanks to my Patreons who have been able to support so far. A big shout out to Andrew Gross, Aidan Callan, FMR, C7H1, William Gammon, Jesse Kassebaum, Patrick Haynes, Cho Chung, Ethan Carlin, Lex Daypan, Edgar Stewart, Puyan Aslani, and Hamad Alfazi.